Hi guys, welcome back to the Old Warlock. I'm Alex.
I'm Jim.
And today we're going to talk to you about something that can be very useful to all of you watching this video today. And if you're anything like us, you know, you like to create these worlds that you play Dungeons and Dragons in. You like to do some world building and write these storylines for your characters to be involved in. But sometimes, creativity can be difficult. And you might run into a little bit of writer's block.
You get designer's blocks.
You really do, yeah. You know, you can only think of so many different cool things for your players to do. You can only think of so many governments or animals or
stuff
that your players will be able to go and do things in. And boy howdy, do we have the resource for you guys, isn't that right? Something called Table Fables, which are a couple of books that we found written by Madeline Hale.
Could be Madeline.
Madeline Hale.
Well, I've got a feeling it's Madeline.
Yeah. Tell us a little about these.
Well, you know, we have been doing a series of videos about early creativity in Dungeons and Dragons.
We have.
So we have. You may have seen our Joe Fisher videos. Mm-hmm. We've got another video that's going to be. We haven't done it yet, but we've got another video about the Arduin Grimoire. Some of you older people might know that. Mm-hmm. But while we were doing the Joe Fisher videos, we were reminded by our friend Marco, who lives in Italy and speaks English better than we do.
Hi, Marco.
Hi, Marco. Marco reminded us of these books that were done by Madeline Hale. And I knew about these books, but I hadn't actually looked at them. And when Marco brought them up and said, hey, you know, you might want to talk about these, or you might want to take a look at these sometime, they're really great, we thought, you know, okay, let's actually do a video on them. Mm-hmm. Because when we did get a hold of them, after we started looking through them, we were kind of blown away by how fun these things are.
Some of these are wildly creative, and things that I would have a great deal of difficulty coming up with on my own, just if I'm thinking through things. It gives you a lot of options for different things you can do.
And so what these are is they're primarily lists of different things that you can generate a random item, you can generate a random spell, you can generate a random thing that somebody has in their pocket. What we're going to do is we have gone through and we've taken, we have two books here that we're going to look at. Alexander's already held them up to the side of his head. We have the Table Fables 1 and Table Fables 2. And so we've gone through and just chosen some of our favorite things to give you an idea of what the contents of these books are, to maybe make you think of possibly going out and buying them. We do not know Madeline Hale.
We don't.
We're not getting a kickback from her, although I guess we might be if we put a link to her books on our website. If you buy something from Amazon through those links, we will get a kickback.
We'll get like a penny.
Maybe two.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to...
We're not trying to get a profit here.
We're not.
We're just telling you about some cool stuff that we thought was interesting, that we think that you all might be able to use.
That's the bottom line.
So, here we go.
Let's go. Let's start out. Alexander, tell us about one of your favorite things from Table Fables 1.
Well, Table Fables 1, which is the blue one.
That's what it's known as, the blue one.
This one seems to be a little bit more focused on just general things. While the second one is more focused on world building and different things within your world. This is just, there's a lot of things for different characters, different character types and things that you can do with them. So I personally love the scars and tattoos tables. So if you're trying to figure out some kind of scar to give an NPC, or a player character for that matter, all you have to do is roll a 20-sided die and you can get... if you roll an 8, a faint vertical scar runs across the character's eyebrow. So you'd be like Jason Momoa. 16, missing the last segment of one finger. So it outlines some different scars you can give people. Same thing for tattoos, which is right underneath it. Roll a 1, a line drawing of a ship at sea. Number 6, a peculiar red flower. Number 8, a circle of wildflowers. Number 16, an animal skull. So it's just these little minute things that you might not want to come up with on your own.
Well, and I think
they're right here.
And I think one of the benefits of these is that it might not be something that you would roll up as a player character, but very often as a DM, you might be asked, at least I'm often asked, that crazy detail by the characters, and I don't want to have to come up with something on the fly all the time for a non-player character that might be on the stage for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
But with this, you roll the die, you've got something right there that you can toss in. But you'd be surprised the results of some of these random tables can then lead to a much bigger component in your adventure.
Yeah.
They can act as a mental trigger to say, yeah, this guy's got a scar over his right eyeball, but
He looks dangerous.
How did he get it?
Yeah.
What is, why is this scarred person here? So these are also triggers for
They're jumping off points.
jumping off points. They're triggers for furthering your adventure.
Exactly.
They can be. They don't have to be, but they can be.
But again, another thing that you can do is if you're just looking for peculiar knickknacks and flavor items, there is a 100-item long list. So you're going to roll percentage dice in order to find whatever is to be found here. 85, a snakeskin belt. 37, a large silver bell in a leather case designed to keep it silent. 33, a small doll made from wood and horsehair. Again, just specific little things you might not want to come up with on your own, but there's a huge wealth of different stuff that you can do here. Moving on even more. Now, if you're anything like me, and you've played
There's no one like you.
with him for a long time, you might have learned over the course of time that it's usually useful for your player characters to go and check out the library.
I have a lot of libraries.
Or if they find in a dungeon some big collection of books or something like that, there's always invaluable information that can be gleaned if you actually sit down and take the time to read through them. But it can be tough to come up with book ideas for what these fantasy books are.
Inevitably, I do have a lot of libraries. They're old libraries. They're scroll libraries. They're just no end of things. Inevitably, the characters who go into these dungeons will find what I have put in there for them to actually need for the continuation of the adventure. Inevitably, they say, "What other books are in here?" That's when it's really handy to have a thing like this where you can roll a percentage dice and you can come up with a something that sounds logical, something that sounds meaningful, as opposed to it's a book on trees. I mean, this gives you more interesting detail that you can put into that library.
And once again, 100-item long list of books, both just regular books and some magical books as well. With, for example, Recipes from House Airy by Unknown. They give the authors as well. If you can't come up with character names fast enough, or you can't come up with book names fast enough, they're all right here for you to be able to use and give out to your players. Next up, we're getting even more specific now. The taste of potions. Yes, there's a table for it. Strawberries and pineapple, desert soil, painfully acidic, musky, strong mead. So again, 20 different items that you can roll and have as one of the effects of your potions. Oh, well, you taste a strong mead flavor as you down the potion, and then something happens.
Nice voice.
Thank you.
That was real good.
Up next, for a bit more broad and not item-related things, we have non-combat encounters and micro-events. So dungeon events. The players pass a humanoid body half absorbed into a wall. A figure is seen darting away in the distance. The players encounter a dark hole in the wall. Water trickles from inside, and the hole is just big enough to crawl through. So just little things. If the adventure's not going super excitingly, and it's getting a little dull. Excitingly, or it's getting a little dull or something like that. Just roll one of these, and it's going to spice things up a little bit.
And again, another thing, as a dungeon master, if you've been playing in my campaign for a long time, and some people have been playing it in it for 20, 30 years, in one case, 40 years. You start to get, as a dungeon master, you have a certain outer set of parameters, and most of your adventures and ideas will operate within those parameters. Having something like this can throw a fresh idea into your campaign that might not otherwise be there, and if your players are used to playing within the parameters that you have set up as a DM, not physically, but subconsciously, if you have something like this, suddenly you've got new ideas that the characters are going to have to react to in a different way. So it can help you as a DM to expand the way you're presenting things and the way that you're showing things to your characters.
Exactly. Just a few more here. Curses.
Love these.
Different curses.
Do like 3 of the curses, because there's some really cool ones in there.
Okay, the target experiences a driving hunger for powdered pearls, which is just deeply specific.
But how cool is it?
Yeah.
Especially if your adventure's taking place on the top of a mountain in the middle of a desert. This is good stuff.
Clawing, scratching hands reach out of any book that the target opens.
Nice.
Demonic glowing writing is constantly being painfully carved into the target's skin before quickly fading.
Another one of my favorites here, number 88. At midnight, the target's body is possessed by a spirit hell-bent on self-destruction.
So your buddies have to tie you down so you don't kill yourself
That's a
over
good
the
one.
course of the middle of the night. It's
That's a good
just
one.
fun stuff. And then last but not least here, we have the disease generator, which I think is just very fun. So you have different symptoms, 20 different symptoms: sleeplessness, shoulder pain, chest pain, coma, different things like that. Then you have a severity table from common to fatal. And then you have an illness name generator, so you can come up with great names like the stinging sickness or things like that.
Well, how about,
The grave virus.
or dog plague,
Yeah.
or devil's infection, or devil's virus, or stone flu. I mean, good stuff.
Yeah.
All randomly generated.
All just wonderful things that you can use to impact your players and that you can use to just make your world a little bit more exciting,
A little brighter.
a little brighter.
Yeah. But we're not done. We're also going to talk about Table Fables 2.
We sure are.
Road events and encounters. I like this one. The players find a human corpse in the middle of a crossroad. White painted runes cover the body, and the corpse's limbs are arranged neatly. So you've got your party walking down the road, and as the DM, you hear the question, "We're at a crossroads, huh?" "Yes, you are." "What's around here?"
Well.
Okay, and so you come up with this, and then again, these can be jumping off points for other directions the adventurers can go in.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like this one too. The characters spot a cloud of magical darkness in the distance. You know, do you run from it or do you head toward it?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Oh, you enjoyed this one. Ship generator.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a merchant or cargo ship that is carrying spices, furs, exotic wood, weapons. You might have a pirate ship, and it gives you an idea of how much gold and treasure there might be on board should you decide to take over said pirate ship. And then you can also do more ship names.
Mm-hmm.
Things like you roll 2 6-sided dice, and you might end up with the Dead Revenge, or the Dreaded Darling, or the Ravishing Treasure. I mean, good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gushing a bit too much about these books?
No, I think we're just excited. I think we're adequately excited about these
Adequately
books.
excited. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Adequately excited.
Yeah.
I think that should become something we use on a regular basis.
Because
How do we feel? We're adequately excited. about
adequately
it.
excited.
We might be less than adequately excited as well.
Yeah.
About something. Then, again, as the DM, I have heard this question many, many times over the years. What does the corpse have in its pockets? Well, you never know. Let's figure that out. And and the thing that I have a problem with having to answer those questions. It's not that I don't want to. It's that sometimes if my mind isn't completely focused on what's happening with the characters at that second, and I'm sorry, after 4 hours of playing, you can get that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that I'm asked a question that for just that brief period of time,
Makes you go,
and it ends up taking away from the feeling that the characters are having about the game at that moment. It takes things out of context for just a brief second as you think of something.
Mm-hmm.
With this, if you're ready, and I would photocopy these, have a couple of them around, boom, you roll a die and say, you know what? He has a shot-sized bottle of alcohol in his pocket, or a bit of stale bread and cheese wrapped in a cloth, or a spool of leather cord, or perhaps a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
The shop quirks, yes. Go ahead.
So the shop quirks, if you just have some kind of a shop, you roll a 12-sided die, and maybe the shop owner is always drinking. Or perhaps he's missing an eye, and he'll become offended if anyone
And
asks
that's
him about
about
it. Or the shop is closed during the day for some reason. It only open at night. But again, just a little something unexpected. Make people turn kind of a left turn real fast. They have to figure out things on the fly.
And then, the war generator.
The war generator. The stance of the people who are fighting the different wars, where it's happening, the goals of the conflict, the intensity of the conflict, how long it goes on for. And then, of course, there's also the planet generator. So if you are to the point where you have completely populated your planet and you need another one, then you've got that all figured out too. So these different charts go from the biggest possible scope, which is building your own solar system, down to the smallest possible scope, which is that maybe one of the shopkeepers is missing an eye. So anything that you could possibly need for adding some detail or coming up with new ideas is in these two books.
Yeah, just it helps you to think on the fly sometimes. And a good dungeon master has the ability to do that to begin with. But sometimes you need a little help. These are great books to have at your disposal to do that. So we'll put links to these in the description of our YouTube video here. And hopefully you'll at least take a look at these books by Madeline Hale.
Madeline, if you're out there, we're big fans of yours now.
Yeah, you really have two big fans here. We're hoping that you create some other things in the future because chances are good we're going to buy them because we really like what you've done. Anyway, that's all I've got.
That's all I've got too.
Madeline Hale, Table Fables, available on Amazon. And also, just to keep in mind, if you enjoy the things that we're doing, you might consider buying us a cup of coffee. You can go to our coffee website. The links are in the description as well. And for a cup of coffee, you can just feel good about supporting the Old Warlock and some of the silliness that we end up doing.
And you can get special access to a couple of different things that we have on our website if you spend $2 on our coffee page.
Maps
Maps
that you can download and integrate into your world. And they're not bad.
Yeah, variety of different themes and locations that you're able to download and insert wherever you want to. They're going to become available to you immediately.
And we also have, via Spreadshirt, we have Old Warlock apparel.
We have come out with new apparel recently.
Yes.
Pretty new. Featuring the Old Warlock logo. The Old Warlock, keep your sword arm free. We know some of you were asking about that. These cups, shirts, pants, hats.
There are no pants.
Okay, there aren't pants, but I think there's face masks on there as well.
Yes,
if you
there are.
want to get some of those, go take a look. All the links are down in the description. Just look at the description. See if there's anything that interests you.
And if you can't buy anything or you don't want to buy anything, that's okay. We're just glad you stopped by.
Yeah. See you next time.
I'm Jim. This is Alexander.
We'll see you.
Keep your sword arm free.
Bye.